Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for your continued support. Now today I have a special guest with me. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Monique Grant. I am a mobile massage therapist.
Come on, plug. Okay.
But yeah, very, very much a support of self-care and everything that means and that entails.
Yeah. So guys, today, and right now is what time is it?
It's 4:09.
It's in the morning, y'all. We just got finished doing a little mingling with a couple other like-minded business people. So I was like, you know what? I have videos that I'm about to do, so why don't you join me on my video? And so I think this is a topic that anyone can join in on, because I think especially Mo is actually on this journey as well, like with just being single intentionally and figuring out for yourself what you need to do before you worry about being in a relationship. Because I think a lot of people don't really take the time out to focus on themselves. Like, people can be single, but they still go out and find someone else to be, I guess, linked to in a way, whether it's like friends with benefits, a situationship. So no one has never, a lot of people that I run into, they'll say, I'm single. But if I ask them, okay, so you're single, but are you talking to anyone? Yes, I'm talking to someone. That's not being single intentionally, because you still are entertaining someone else while you're single. And what I mean by being single intentionally is you're taking the time out to focus on yourself in that time frame, so that you can get to know yourself. You can be able to make all the mistakes you want to make, because when you're with someone else, you kind of have to think about the other person and what they want, and and kind of incorporate what they want into the relationship and into your life, so you're not able to make the mistakes you want to make. And I don't say like make mistakes, because we just have to be able to grow. So you're going to have to make mistakes as a person and learn who you are through mistakes. So you don't want to have to go into a relationship explaining everything. Sometimes you want to just not have that extra stress on your back. And being single, you have that time to do so, make those mistakes, learn from everything, find your purpose, figure out who you are, and grow as a person and as a human being, and heal. Because we are so busy hopping from relationship to relationship that we don't give ourselves time to heal. We quick to jump into bed with the next person, but there's no, you don't give yourself time to really properly get to know yourself and really know what you want as a person or what you need as a person. So, what is your take on
When it comes to being single intentionally, for me, that means like understanding what the whole purpose of being single for yourself means, first and foremost. Yeah. So for me, it's like, okay, though I'm not a chronic dater, if that's a thing, like I'm not one that goes from relationship to relationship.
Right.
However, I do see the benefit of being with somebody. So I like the idea of being with someone. However, in the season where I'm not with someone, it's like, okay, what do I do with
this
the
little time that you have?
Right.
And that's what a lot of people have an issue with. They don't know how to take
what do
that
I do with my downtime?
And people feel like that downtime is for them to either go out and search and date, when really that downtime that you have, little do you know, is really for you to figure out yourself. That's time for you to date yourself. Take yourself out on dates. Figure out what you like to do. Find your own little hobbies that you like to do. Because to be honest, if you're not single intentionally, when you go into the next relationship, you're not going to even be able to be and have you will be an individual. But I noticed that sometimes when people get into relationships, because they haven't taken the time out to be single intentionally, they don't know, they kind of, I guess, once you know how you get into a relationship and you kind of turn into, well, not really turn into that person, but you're kind of so far up there behind that you kind of take on what they like to do.
You figure it yourself.
Yeah. You lose, like with my last relationship, like when we broke up, I felt a sense of relief, because when we broke up, I'm like, wow, I had, like, when he broke up with me, and that night I had to sit and reflect on it, and he came and got his things the next day, and he asked me how I was doing, and I just was like, you know what, I'm hurt, but at the same time, I'm glad you did this, because I lost sight of myself and I need time to focus on myself. So I'm actually kind of glad you did that. And I was like, I hope you find what you're looking for. And that's that. Like, I could have been hurt. I could have been like boohoo crying, still trying to get back with him. But then I thought about what God was trying to do for me in that situation with removing him from my life. I realized that he was trying to get me to like, girl, sit down with yourself for a minute. Take a breather. Like, you don't always have to be up under somebody. Because even when I had been before him, I had been single for years. Like, and so even though I was single for years, I was still messing around with people and creating soul ties that was unnecessary.
That part. So for me, being single intentionally means I understand the purpose of the singleness. 1. 2, I understand, or I found my purpose. Finding your purpose when you're not with anybody else is so important. I cannot stress that enough. Like, in 2020, when everybody else was like going through the whole COVID pandemic or whatever, I was literally able to birth, if you will, a whole business. So being able to understand, like, I am completely whole by myself without having to like have the validation from somebody else, from anyone on the outside. Mm-hmm. I was whole by myself. Mm-hmm. For a whole however many months we went through the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. And then getting back to what's like the new norm, I'm still cool by myself because I found my purpose. I found what it was that where my passion resides. We always talk about like where the money resides. No, where does your passion reside? You know what I mean?
Ooh, that's a word.
Like facts. Like
that's a bar.
I'm not on a whole like a whole trip on trend. It's a whole where do I need to be in the moment that I need to be in. Divine orchestration, like divine appointments, making sure that I show up to those divine appointments. Like it's a thing. So the whole concept of being single intentionally allows you to really hone in on
exactly
the thing that you're supposed to be beside, like outside a person. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, cool. This is my niche, if you will. Mm-hmm. This is how I'm supposed to present myself. And this is the mindset that I have to be in at all times in order to become my best and present my best to my clients, my whatever, right? But if you're so caught up in trying to find validation in somebody else, your whole perspective of who I am, who I will be, who I ever will become is tied into the validation of somebody else. And I'm not about to do that. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it was deposited in me long before somebody else.
Exactly.
What my purpose was.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Like, I am not about to let anybody, you, whomever, to validate me when I was already validated prior to your existence.
Exactly.
That's a whole thing.
Also, and I think once you're single intentionally, you're able to not only create the standard of who you are as a person and, but also the type of person that you want to allow into your life, because you then know what you want. So if you've already taken the time with yourself to focus on yourself and your personal growth and, making those mistakes and learning and getting to know who am I and what's my purpose. Once you've gotten to that place, now it's like, okay, I've created this person that I want to be and I need to be. Now, who do I want? Because you don't. Yeah.
That's a space of vulnerability that you could only get to if you're by yourself for a period of long time. So the pandemic, 2020, for a lot of people was a lot of different things. For me, the pandemic was an awakening experience.
Same. Honey.
You know what I mean? Because in that moment, I didn't have the outside influence of this is what you need to be, this is where you should be, this is where I want you to be, because if you're not this, you're not anything. However, it was a moment where I was able to really focus and really write some things down and make things make sense for me. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to really implement those things. And then when things kind of got back to normal, and I was like, yo, I was already on the same path the whole time. I didn't need you. It was great to have you, but I didn't need you. Knowing your wants from your needs are two totally different things. But that's a sidebar. We'll talk about that another time. But
you can talk about it now. I mean, shoot.
But just knowing that what you want versus what you need is totally two different things, and operating in the fact of this is where I need to be, and postponing my gratifications for later. So
because what you need, let me say this, and then people probably won't understand this. The type of person you need is what you create for yourself. The type of person you want is who you bring into your life, because you don't need anyone. You need yourself. You need to love yourself. Therefore, the only person you're going to need is you, even if that person leaves you.
Yes.
So you just need to be the person that you need to be for yourself, so that the person you come into your life, you're only going to want them. You're not going to need them for anything. So that is definitely the most important thing. I think people are like, oh, well, I need this from a person, or I need that from a person. No, you don't need that from them. You require that because that's what you give to yourself. But if they aren't able to provide that to you, then you're not, when they leave, you're not all deep in depression because they weren't able to provide you with, you're going to be hurt from the situation because of the time you put into it, but you still love yourself at the end of the day. So you're able to walk away from it with your head held high, because you're like, shoot, at the end of the day, I still know myself. So I can walk away, with my dignity at the end of the day, regardless of how they were as a person. You still knew you were who you needed to be as a person and as a human being. So that's all that mattered. So I think that's very important too, knowing that the person that you're going to be with is the person that you're going to want, not exactly who you need, because
what you want.
But because God is who you need.
Fact.
Child.
A person is what you want. Think about it this way. You have to understand who you are as a person. And I've heard, my parents have said this, my teachers, my whomever have said, be the thing that you want to attract.
And not only that, because when people say, I look at it like this, and I'm going to talk about this because I have another video I'm going to do for you guys about when it comes to men and things like that, because I notice, like, with men, they like to speak on women and what they want, but they don't know how to they speak on women that they attract, but they speak on women that they've entertained because of what they've accepted, and then they try to project that onto other women, and then that's why they walk around talking hurt. They're walking around hurt, and then they're talking like how they speak against how women talk about men. So I noticed that too, but we're going to get to that in another video. But
stay tuned, y'all.
I forgot my point that I was going to make. What were you saying at first?
Just the fact that, like, we are, like, we entertain the thing we attract.
That's what I was so that point. So you aren't what you attract, you are what you entertain. Because we can attract anything. Because you're attractive, you're gonna probably attract people who you probably normally wouldn't even talk to, somebody who you're not attracted to. But once it's who you make the time for after that initial meeting, and then after you have that first date, and if you continue after knowing what type of person they are, then that's who you are. You are who you entertain. Because by then you should already know that person and their character. So if you know their character at that point and you still choose to entertain it, knowing that they could possibly be toxic, but you ignore the red flags, then at that point, that's who you are, because that's what you're seeking. Obviously, because you're looking past the red flags and just saying, hey, well, I'm just going to go with the flow. And that's not healthy. So that means that you yourself have not become this healthy person mentally. And so you're just accepting anything that comes your way. So I feel like when you're single intentionally, you learn yourself. And you've done the work. You've been reading books, or you've done your self-care, and you got to a point where you love yourself so much and you spent so much time with yourself that you like, shoot, I'm not going to accept this from you. I can spend time. I'd rather be by myself and do bad than to be with somebody else. And I was doing just fine before you.
By myself.
Yeah. So so that's the whole point of being single intentionally, because at that point, you done got so comfortable being by yourself that anybody comes into your life, it's just a added on situation.
You add on to what I've already established. I hear a lot of people talk about, like, building empires and, like, this is what I want to become and blah, 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 blah. Like by yourself. Think about it. What you can create, what you can manifest, what you can cultivate by yourself, nobody can take away from you. If anybody comes to you, it's an additive. It's an elective. You opt to include that into what you already have established. And that's great. But you need to make sure that you can stand on your own 2 feet by yourself, man, woman, whatever. Be able to operate as a fully functioning entity by yourself, so that if God forbid something happens to your partner, whomever, you're still okay. That's not bad. That's not trying to go above and beyond the other person that you're with. No. What it is you're making sure that you are okay. And that's okay. I feel like a lot of us are always like wanting to like lean on the next person. God forbid something happens to the next person and you're like assed out and you just can't like function properly.
And this is what I've learned from there's this guy named Tony Gaskins that I watch.
Love him.
You started watching him?
Love him.
So he talks about being, when you're single, you're independent. But when you come together, you're not
codependent.
You're supposed to be not codependent, but interdependent. Because if you're codependent, then you're looking for that person to give you something that you're missing. So you need that person to be in your life for some reason. Like being codependent is like just being like you can be codependent on a drug because you need it.
Okay.
And you don't want to just need a person so bad.
So like you have your own, they have their own.
You bring it in and you're interdependent. And that's what he talks about a lot, is that you and that person, you shouldn't go to that situation searching for, you should go into the situation searching for things that are the intangible, like the person's character. Not the person's coins and what they got, what they can offer you that's, in the physical. Because those things, you can find them anywhere. But you go into the situation wanting that person because of what they can deliver as a person, as a human being, and their character. So that's what he means by being interdependent, because you already come into the situation with what you have to offer. You're already well established. So you're not needing them to take care of you. You're just needing them to be there as a companion, because that's what we all look for. We all want companionship, whether a lot of us say we do or not, and we act like we don't because of whatever we've been through. But a lot of us are looking for companionship. So I feel like when you are single intentionally, that gives you time to create and build for yourself, so that when you do get with that person, you're not needing them for anything. You're just coming into it and you both are joining your lives together. And then you may create something from that, but you not coming in, or that person not coming in being a leech. So, and that's very important. And that's what I learned after my last relationship, because I noticed that I would get with someone and I'll kind of be with them, and not saying I would just be trying to get anything off of them, but I would join my life with them, and it'll kind of be like I would be so much into what they like to do that I would forget about some of the things that I like to do. And that's for me personally. I know that's not for everybody. Some people, are able to get into relationships and not have that happen. But I know, I'm just saying, for me, that's what I had to learn. And then when I got out of that relationship, I think what I learned from that is that I needed to be single intentionally, because I have had other relationships where we broke up, and I could have went into that, but God wanted me to go through those situations to be like, okay, you've learned, you've had those experiences, but from this one particular experience, now I want you to just sit your behind down now. And also, one thing I can say from my last relationship, because I don't ever really say, because all exes aren't that bad people because it didn't work out. I won't say he's a bad person. Some of the things he did were questionable. But what I can say I took from the relationship is that he did ask me a lot of times, what was my purpose? And I can respect that. And I think once that question was asked to me, even with all the other foolery that we had going on in the relationship, that was one of the things I took from that relationship. And I think that relationship was placed in my life for that particular reason, so that when I left it, I was able to be like, you know what? I was with him so that I can figure out where I needed to be, what the next season of my life was going to be. And that was me finding myself. That was going to be the next season of my life after that relationship. And I understood that. And because I understood that, that's why I was able to just walk out to him and be like, you know what? I need to find myself, and I'm glad we broke up. And I wasn't like, yeah, at the time of the breakup, I was boohoo crying and stuff. But after the fact, and when I thought about it, you know, I was like, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, of course, I still have my own opinions about him. You know, I thought he was a butthole and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, I still took something positive from the relationship, because it wasn't all bad. Obviously, I was with
Those
him.
are the best.
So, you know, whatever. But yeah, so I'm going to say this to you guys, you know, as a life coach, this is definitely one of my, that's why I'm so passionate talking about it. Like, this is one of the videos that I created like key points, but I really didn't pay attention to the key points, because this is something that because I'm so passionate about it, and because I knew this was the journey that I had to be on. This is the reason why I did this video, because I feel like a lot of people don't take the time out to be single intentionally. And I'm not just talking about like, you know, because I did do the other video about let's talk about sex. And in that video, I was talking about abstinence. And I think within being single intentionally, abstinence does play a part, because you are breaking soul ties and being abstinent. And not saying, you know, like I told y'all in the last video, everybody is not going to just stop having sex because I say so. I am not God. Like, so, you know, and even people ain't listening to God either, because it's in the Bible and y'all still do it. Y'all still fornicate. But that's another word for another day. But yeah, so me personally being abstinent within your singleness is important. Now, if you decide you want to have sex when you find that person, that's your business. Me personally, I choose to not have sex until marriage. That is my choice, because I feel like when you get into relationships, people like to tie their worth to sex and think that because you give somebody your body, they're going to stay and not going to cheat or not going to do whatever they want to do. They're going to still do what they want to do. You can be the best person in bed. You can bust it open 5-7 days a week, and the person will still cheat on you.
It doesn't matter.
So never tie sex. I mean, and I'm not saying it's wrong to have sex. I mean,
sex does not equate loyalty.
Yeah, but it doesn't equate loyalty.
It does not.
It doesn't. And so what are you going to lose by not giving that person your body? Because once, I mean, if you don't get, like, I have a friend, and I'm not going to say her name, but she has a situation with somebody right now, and they aren't having sex. And when she's ready to just walk away, she don't feel like she lost nothing, because she ain't gave him nothing.
The level of
like, and so she's like, shoot, I ain't sweating it because he ain't do what he was supposed to do. But one thing that person is going to respect about you is that you didn't allow yourself to drop down to their standards. Because all of a sudden, because some person say they like you and they're attracted to you, so what? Oh, just because somebody's taking you on a date and somebody's doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Because when you're dating someone, you're supposed to take them on dates.
Yeah.
So I'm not giving you some ass because, excuse my French, but I'm not giving you none because that's what you're supposed to do. So we need to also, I wish I would have said this in the video, but whatever, I'm there now. So yeah, stop giving people rewards for stuff that they're supposed to be doing, because no one is not God. No one died on the cross. Jesus, no one died on the cross for you. So, and until that person actually committed their life to you, put a ring on your finger, you're not obligated to do any damn thing. And even then, somebody shouldn't treat you like a slave.
My parents used to tell me, as old school as it was, I'm not going to give you allowance to clean your room.
Some of you will be doing already.
I'm not about to give you allowance to do the dishes. I'm not about to give you allowance to get up on time to go to school. Those are things you're supposed to do. What I will reward you for are for the extras, the things that's not included in whatever. So don't let just the standard be a wow factor. No.
Stop giving people brownie points because they took you out on a date, or because they want to buy you a gift. So what? That was up to them. Buy me a gift. And
you only reward things above and beyond.
I just feel like, to be honest, I just feel like no one should be rewarded for treating me like a decent human being, because that's what you're supposed to do anyway.
If you want something from me, you know what it takes. I'm not finna reward you.
And you should allow me to it should be natural. You shouldn't be doing stuff to get something out of somebody anyway. I think everything should be a natural give and take. It shouldn't be one of those situations where, he bought me a Chanel bag, so I'm about to be busting.
I don't care what it costs. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. And I'm not just saying this for women. I'm saying this all for men too. Y'all need to know y'all worth too, because I feel like y'all that's why y'all be so butthurt nowadays, because y'all settle for things, and y'all haven't even gotten a chance to be single intentionally. So when y'all do get into these situations, y'all always basing what how women are based off of your experience. And you can't do that. Like, you have to work on yourself first. I feel like all of this stuff and all this I feel like all this toxicity would be eliminated if people would just work on themselves first. But because people are so want to be, like you said, validated by other people so much, people just want to hop into relationships, or because they because of temptation and wanting to have sex and all of this stuff, people just want to hop into anything. And it's like, come on, like, just take the time to yourself. What is it going to hurt? You're not going to lose anything. People, like my dad used to always tell me, do your work. The boys are always going to be there. Folks ain't going nowhere. It's billions of people on this earth. We're not going to run out of people to run into, to date, to interact with. And whoever is meant for you, of course, it will be there because it's already written in your story. God already written your story. So he's got the person for you. You just need to work on yourself, because he's not going to give you anybody to you. And if he does, he gave them to you by grace, because he's like, this person is not going to learn, obviously. So let me give them the person they need to learn from. Ooh. That's what I feel like sometimes people end up in situations with somebody they're supposed to be with, because God's like, okay, let me get this person into your life. Sometimes that person don't even last long either.
That describes the right now, not the Mr. Right. So what y'all just heard was basically, you will run into the person for the season, but not necessarily a person for the lifetime. And you have to understand and know the difference. But again, being single intentionally allows you to really, really hone in on, where am I right now? Where's my barometer? That whole moral compass, that emotional compass is also a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, understanding where you are right now, and are you for the person that I'm supposed to be with in this season? Is there a lesson that I need to understand? Is there something in me that I need to refine, reform, whatever, get rid of, include, add on to, whatever? Understand that you are still growing. And the things and the aspects and the experiences that you get into, whether it's by choice or just by circumstance or happenstance, you got to learn from all those experiences, all those people. Take people that come into your life as an experience. What is it that I'm supposed to learn right now that I didn't get the last season, that I damn sure I'm not going to get the next season if I don't get it right now? You know what I mean? So really be focused on, what are the things that I need to improve upon. That way I'm aware of and I'm alert to the things that's supposed to help me to grow to the next season. I feel like a lot of us, including myself, I was really focused on, hey, you like me, I like you back. Maybe you're it for right now.
Ooh, no, girl, I did that a lot. I did that a lot.
You were just supposed to be here for this season to teach me something. Patience, kindness, being able to express myself, being able to say no. Say no. That's also okay. You can say yes, you can say no, and you can say I don't know.
And that's all in being single intentionally. Is all about learning your self-worth. When you learn who you are as a person and learn who like, okay, I know I'm this very loving person, I'm a giving person. I know my worth. So anybody that comes into my life, you definitely got to be on your P's and Q's, because I'm not giving you all of who I am and just to receive. And not to say people go into situations, because of course, like I said in my video about what is love, love is very unconditional. So you cannot go into situations looking to accept stuff. You also have to know that you're dealing with a human being. You're always going to have to hold a human being accountable.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely want to know your self-worth going into situations so that you can create those boundaries. So that, you know, when a person does step out of line, then you can be like, hey, I don't find this acceptable at all. And how are we going to make this work? And we're going to fix this to make this work. And then that way, if the person does not line up with those things, and after, you know, you have those conversations with them, well, now you have to determine for yourself, is this worth it for me and my mental health and, you know, my physical well-being and everything. And once, because you already have been single intentionally, you've become this healthy person because you've learned yourself. You set with all your character flaws and healed from all your past traumas, when you're in this situation, you're able to think clearly instead of thinking from your trauma. Because you know, when you react from your trauma, because you ain't healed, you react from it, you still deal with it. You'll be like, I don't like this. And you start arguing and cussing with this person and fussing with this person. And you say you don't like it, but you still continue with it because you have a trauma bond and you ain't trying to let it go. So that's being single intentionally really brings, I mean, it definitely gets you to a place where
a whole lot.
You think about things that because you think clearly when you ain't tied up and up under somebody and laying in somebody's bed and you have this free time, you have free time to think.
Selfless plug, y'all. I feel like every Black person or every person with a beating heart, deserves therapy. I'm talking like real, honest, unadulterated, unfiltered, unjudged. This is where I am. This is where I've been. Therapy. Because hurt people.
They do.
And healed people can heal people. Like if you are hurt versus you are healed, that determines the path that you're on.
And
it's no shade. It's no shade. It is no shade. It's literally where you've been versus where you want to be or where you'd prefer to be.
And don't get it, and don't get it twisted, y'all. When I talk to y'all like this, it's because I'm real passionate about it. It's not because I'm judging you, because I'm a person that's been through all of these things. And because I've been through all of these things, that's why I'm so passionate about it. And when I be talking to y'all, I be saying it because I'm like, some of y'all not listening.
Been there.
Yeah, and I want y'all to get it, and I want y'all to listen. And that's why I say some of y'all need to just come and do some one-on-one coaching, because I do notice that a lot of people, you're still lost in life and in your ways of thinking because of the way that you're used to moving, because of the way the society says.
But it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I want y'all to know. We want y'all to know it's not your fault. Literally,
we all are influenced. We're influenced by our environment.
A lot of our parents didn't know. They did the best that they could with what they had. You know what I'm saying? And we're doing the best that we could with what we have. God, we've been through a whole pandemic where touch was not a thing. Being able to communicate with people was kind of limited. Being able to experience certain things for a whole, 9 to 12 months was an issue. We get it. It's understandable. Like, that plays a part in our cumulative life span, that part. It's a thing. So dating is different. Like understanding ourselves becomes different. Our perspective, our mindset, the things that we look at, the things that's important, what's a priority is different. Don't count yourself out. Like, you are still important, you're still valid. All the things that you're still questioning, we all have questioned it. Like, we've all questioned it. But the bottom line is, take the time for yourself. And allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Oh my God. Give yourself the autonomy. Autonomy literally means the permission to do so. That's all it is. Give yourself the permission to do a mistake. The permission to learn. The permission to experience. The permission to say, I don't know. Give yourself that opportunity to grow. And then you get to implement those things. And then, here's the kicker. If you can do that with somebody else who's already doing that as well, that's a partnership. If you're doing what you need to do to learn more, become more, and you partner that with somebody who's learning to do more and becoming more, that's a partnership. You don't have to teach that person anything. Because they're already on the same, they're already on that same life path.
You definitely want to, and then also, I'm not saying that you're going to run into somebody that's 100%, because we're never going to be 100% either.
Never.
We're always constantly forever growing into the person that we want to be. But you definitely want to be with someone, and you want to be the person that someone runs into that actually knows where you're going. Because if you have a goal that you want to hit, and you have a good head on your shoulders, and you have a plan, I think that's what matters. Because if you just, blind leading the blind, that's not going to help. Somebody got to have a plan. But I feel like both of you should come in with a vision, because everyone's like, oh, a man needs a woman with a vision. But no, both of you need each other. Both of you need to have a vision to come together with, so that each of you can contribute to whatever the growth is in relationship. And you might have your own thing and they might have their own thing they're good at. Not saying you're going to have the same vision, but you both need to be able to bring something to the table where it's like, okay, you think of this and I think of that, and we bring it together and it just becomes this thing. And so I think that's what I mean by becoming interdependent, which is what I took from Tony Gaskins. And I watch him a lot, so if y'all hear me cite him a lot, it's because he's been a part of my self-care routine, because I listen to him, especially after my relationship. I'm like, Lord, I did a lot of things wrong. And the way I'm talking to y'all is the way he talks. Yeah. He talks very candid. It's like giving to you real and raw. It's like, it might sound like impossible to do, but if you take the time out to really focus on you will definitely become your best self. And that's what I encourage all of you to do. And this video is going on and on and on, guys, and I didn't even realize we were almost at 35 minutes, but it's okay, because you guys are going to get some gems in this video nonetheless. But with all that being said, thank you for being my guest on this show, because not a show, but like my little, let's speak into existence a show, honey, because
I'm here for it all.
I speak into existence. But guys, thank you for listening once again. Like I said, you can find me on my mentor.life as your life coach if you want to do one-on-one. My specialties is singles, breakups, and healing. And so, and if you want to come into that space, I will talk to you about anything. Those are my specialties, but I'll talk to you about anything, because I like to listen to people's stories and, hear what they got going on. But you can go ahead and plug what you got going on, your business and everything. And guys, I still do massages too, but, I kind of slow down on it because of other things that I have to get situated, but I'll be plugging that in once I get those things situated. But you can go ahead and, plug in your business.
I am a mobile massage therapist, aka M3 Therapy, LLC. I maintain, manage, and measure the quality of you. But yeah, I am clinical when it comes to the massage therapy. I will come to you. You can come to me. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. And yeah, I just care about you and making sure that you are your best self. So I will put her information in the description box down below. So you guys, if you want to book with her, you can, or whatever. So yeah. But thank you guys for listening and watching. And until next time, be blessed.